Cavalier faithful, on behalf of Logan, on behalf of Justin, it's Jeffrey, it's Cavs Encapsulated Crew, it's the Cleveland Pulse. We're here to talk Donovan Mitchell, officially a part of the Cleveland Cavaliers roster. It took a lot to get him. We're going to start with that right off the rip. It took a lot to get Donovan Mitchell, but here we are. Per Woj, Cleveland is sending its 3 unprotected picks to Utah in 2025, 2027, and 2029, and pick swaps in 2026 and 2028, along with – okay, this is a different tweet, but here we are. Here we are. You guys get it, though. The picks are – what is it? 3 picks, Lowry, Sexton, and Abaji. Okay, so let's start with compensation first. We're coming off the rip. Justin, is it too much? Is it just enough to get a player of Donovan Mitchell's caliber, or did anyone win the trade? That's what I want to know.
I think both teams win because they get what they were searching for. Obviously, Fair. Utah in a clear rebuild, and they get their picks. They get their young players with Colin Sexton, who has potential. Obviously, it wasn't going to work here. You could tell it wasn't in the cards from very early on in the summer, but they also get Ochai, who is a top 14 pick, and they get Lowry, who he really was under the radar, I think, for us last year. He was a great player. He was a really good role player. But at the same time, the Cavs, they get exactly what they need. They watch the Eastern Conference continue to maintain, sustain, and improve with many rosters. Obviously, you still have those top 5 teams, the Bucks, the 76ers, the Heat. The list goes on, and then you watch Atlanta go out and get DeJounte Murray. A move had to be made for a difference maker, and Donovan Mitchell is right at the – guys like Donovan Mitchell do not come on the market in trades very often, and goodness, Kobe going after it and really, getting us from he's called about him to the talks have stopped to the trade happening. I'm at a loss for words. So,
and that's something we're going to get into because it sounds like Kobe called, and it sounds like maybe Utah didn't love the offer, and then they called the Knicks, and the Knicks offered something less, and then Kobe called back, and it sounded like the deal got done, which is interesting. Logan, to put it in perspective, Lowry, 2017 first round pick, selection number 7. Ochai, which everybody makes mistake. Woj can't even spell his name right. We're let you off the hook, Woj, because we make a little oopsie in the intro. We're fine. Ochai's 14th overall. Sexton, obviously a lottery selection. So you're looking at 6 first-round picks for semantics-wise. I don't think anyone really views Lowry as a first-round talent anymore. Not saying he's not good. Not saying he couldn't even be great. But as far as the total compensation, Logan, you're looking at 6 first rounders basically for Donovan Mitchell. Let me hear your thoughts.
See this? I haven't stopped smiling since 3:42 p.m. today. We got a guy that has a nickname. That means it's good. Spida. That's a good thing. We got a guy with a nickname. That's a good start. I mean, this is incredible. I think your compensation, I talked to my father and I was like, well, I called my dad the moment I saw the first tweet. I didn't even know what players were getting rid of. I'm like, Dad, now we got Garland, we got Mitchell, we got Markkanen, we got Mobley, we got Allen. We don't have Markkanen, we don't have Sexton. Like all of a sudden, all the tweets are coming in. But the thing is, you knew that there was going to have to be some loss. So what I tweeted earlier is Donovan Mitchell is a better player and he's a better fit than Colin Sexton. Ochai Agbaji is unproven in the league. He might be a solid 3-and-D player. He's unproven. Lauri Markkanen hurts. But you have to give to gain, right? That's how it works in the NBA. At the end of the day, you got yourself an all-star. You're now only one of 2 teams in the NBA who have 3 all-stars on their team. Last year, the Warriors had Wiggins, Curry, and Draymond in the all-star game. Cavaliers now got Garland, Allen, and Mitchell. And the other thing I saw in a tweet is Cavaliers have a big 3, and it's possible by the end of the next season, none of those 3 might be the best player on the team because you got a guy named Evan Mobley sitting right there at the power forward position. At the end of the day, this completes your team. You're going to be looking for that 3. And this is the part that scares me. I'm going to go on a little bit of a ramble, a little bit of rant, as I usually do. Go ahead.
We all should.
This is the thing. If we had stuck with what we had, we become the Portland Trailblazers. where you're a team that gets to the 6th, maybe the 4th seed in the Western Conference. Maybe you get a series, maybe you don't, and that's it. You move on, blah, blah, blah. That was it. You got Lillard, McCollum, that's your backcourt. Sexton, Garland, that's your backcourt. You have Nurkic up front. You made moves and try to mix and match players. You could never find the 3, and that's what the Cavaliers are going to have to do now. They ended up signing Carmelo Anthony, back then Portland did, to get back in contention, not contention, but, finally just fill a role at the 3 spot. There's still holes in this roster, but I think getting rid of as much as we did also makes the image clearer. You have a starting 5, and you have your backup 5. What your backup 5 right now is what? Rubio, LeVert, Jetty Osman, Kevin Love, Robin Lopez. Before we were talking about, okay, Sexton's coming back now. Stevens gets less minutes. Now, where does Okoro fit into all this? How does Karis LeVert's minutes come about? Now you have a structure. Now you have a setup. And now you can plug and play players where you want to. So at the end of the day, I think the compensation is what it was, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. And my friend Mike, he said the same thing. He said, you got to swing, right? At the end of the day, you might strike out and miss. This might come back to hurt you, but no one can say you didn't try to improve the roster. At the end of the day, this is a roster improving move.
I think just hearing what you said right there, I think I'm going to have to give absolute and utter praise to Kobe Altman. Clip it, put it on Twitter, because
Jeffrey Santa.
No, listen.
Pro Kobe.
Listen. Hold on. Not for the overall trade, because I'm gonna talk both sides of the trade. I've told everybody, people texted me as soon as it happened. Multiple people on my line. I told every single one of them, I like it. I don't love it. I can't love it yet. I need a JB. I need Spida. I need them to make me love it. I think they could do it, but right now I do like it. But the praise I'll give Kobe Altman is that he's reset the clock on this roster, where I'm cool with it taking 2 years now. Okay, we are all right. We're not finals contenders this year. Can anybody disagree with that? Are we finals contenders this year?
No, I don't think so. I think
are we finals contenders next year?
Possibly. Maybe.
We have a lot of cap space. That's another thing looking way down the road. Next summer we have a lot of cap space. There's going to be free agents like Jaylen Brown, like Andrew Wiggins on the market. Bing, bing, bing.
Wiggins. Oh.
Put that on your calendar for 2023. But 2 years from now, I'm fully expecting us to be in the Eastern Conference Finals, and I'm actually fully expecting us to be in the finals and competing, going 6-7 games, winning it. And that's just making me excited as a fan. That's something I haven't said about the Cavs in my lifetime without LeBron James. So I'm going to come around and say that Kobe Altman, hats off to you. I'm a little bit nervous about this rookie max contract. I'm going to have to figure that out, because if that's the case, he kind of looks like a long-term rental, or you're not expecting Mobley to be good enough to get a rookie max. But I don't want to speak on that. I don't really know everything about it.
That situation's messed up. I don't think we should really talk on it until I feel like someone tomorrow will definitely have a better explanation for it. But I feel like there are ways out of it, but just don't know.
Okay, we're getting into real serious. I need you guys to take this seriously. Justin, what color jersey are you ordering for the kid?
Well, I held off so long on buying the new jersey.
What if you bought an Ochai jersey? Are they refunding you?
Remember we had a little deal going on. If he was in the starting lineup, or we did something where we were gonna roll for jerseys this year. And
I know we should. Well, we're gonna make you. Well, maybe we'll let you pick either if you want to pick, or we could all roll for players.
Listen, no matter what, I'm getting a white jersey. I haven't bought the white jersey yet, and I know we're gonna get some sort of city jersey. I gotta save the city. I think my thing moving forward will be I'll get a white jersey for Donovan, and then I think I'm gonna keep the city jerseys as Garland jerseys.
Fair.
That's what I got going right now. Or I might just alternate between the two of them at each and every year.
I like that. Keep the city jersey for who you already have, which I'm expecting our city jersey to be off the wall crazy good, but that's for a different story.
I hope it's our 2010 jersey that everyone wants.
I hope they're blue or navy though, or navy or
Blue's
orange.
Gone. Navy's gone. But I mean, people also thought the Cavaliers weren't going to get Mitchell, and that they pulled out of a trade, so anything can happen, right?
Correct. Now, all right, Logan, let's get into some comparables.
Yes, sir.
Let's look at the Hawks and Spurs trade. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I think that as far as this offseason, if you're a fan, even if you're a general manager, you're going to look at the two trades this offseason. The Hawks getting DeJounte Murray, the Cavs getting Donovan Mitchell. Who made a better decision? So as far as the Spurs, they were given the 2023 first-round pick, 2025 first-round pick, a 2026 pick swap, and a 2027 first-round pick. And they got Danilo Gallinari for DeJounte Murray. I think Mitchell is a more established player in the league compared to DeJounte, but I just want to hear your thoughts as far as compensation for both, and if you would have done this trade for Murray, or if you are competent and you're fine with the Mitchell trade.
I think the Utah Jazz in general just did a very good job of getting rid of both Gobert and Mitchell and setting themselves up for the future. I mean, they got 7 first-round picks and 3 more pick swaps. They have a couple of young players like Sexton, Markkanen solid. They got Dalen Horton-Tucker and a few others. I mean, I think they set themselves up well. I think they weren't accepting anything less. I think when it comes to San Antonio, they were just kind of like, you know what, we want this for DeJounte. We want him to go to a team. Give us first rounders on first rounders. We don't even want a big star in the background because the Spurs have been good for so many years. They're going to a legit rebuild, which is like unheard of in San Antonio in the last 20 years or whatever, 25 years. I think it really just comes down to what the team who was trading away the star was looking for in return. Obviously, DeJounte, they want a lot of return, but I think they also want to just give DeJounte a chance to go win. That's how San Antonio's always kind of been, is they've had their moment in the sun. We're going to start over. You have fun. Obviously, the Hawks got a great deal on that. Here's my thing, and you're going to hate this, Jeffrey. I also think Mitchell's a better fit for the Cavaliers than DeJounte Murray.
I can agree with that. I can agree with the fit.
So at the end of the day, I think the Hawks got the player they thought was good for themselves. I honestly don't know if Trae Young and DeJounte is a great backcourt. DeJounte Murray is a different player than I thought. Have you seen his attitude lately and his antics in the pro-ams?
This is true.
I don't know. I mean, it's fun. It's cool. Whatever. He's in a pro-am. Everyone has fun. But I don't know. I think it's a little bit different. He's not under Popovich anymore. He can let loose a little bit. I think at the end of the day, both teams gave up what they had to get the player that fit their system. That was the guy they wanted. Hawks probably did a better job, but like I said, I think the asking price might have just been a bit lower.
Okay, so I agree. I'll pay a little bit more for the fit as well, and I agree. Mitchell is a better fit than Murray, even though I was partial to Murray. I think he gives you the defensive bump that Mitchell doesn't give you, which would be my reservation with the whole trade, is that if we are in a 7-game series with a player like Jason Tatum, if we're in a 7-game series with a player like Andrew Wiggins in the finals, Brandon Ingram in the finals, just throw that crazy name out there for the Pelicans. Sure. But like, who's guarding the 3? And that's kind of where my question goes to next. I'm going to start with Justin. So we got DG at the 1, obviously. You got Spida at the 2.
Spida.
Who's playing, which is crazy, like Donovan Mitchell, the 2 for the Cavs, 2022, 2023. Who's playing the 3?
So,
how does our depth bench look? Kind of a 2-part question.
The depth and bench is amazing. I love what's happened here, but let me start with the lineup you're talking about.
Go ahead.
So, in my mind, and I've been on Twitter a little bit. Today's been a crazy day, but everyone's talking Garland, Mitchell, Okoro at the 3.
That's already making me sick.
And Allen. Now, I agree with that to be the starting lineup, but we all know that the starting lineup is not what you finish with.
This is right. LeVert will play more minutes than Okoro. Totally agree.
And when it comes down to the last, 8 minutes in the fourth quarter in a playoff game, you're most likely going to see Garland, Mitchell, probably Karras as of right now. I think there could be an argument for someone who might be a better defensive player at that time because you already have all the offensive power you need. I think that's the biggest problem is who's your best defensive player that can guard real threes. Like
depends who we're playing.
Yeah, LeBron James. Like you're thinking about LeBron James, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Browns, Jimmy Butler's. The list goes on. And you need someone who can actually, take the contact, not just on the perimeter, but also in the post. And so, for me, I'll say it'll be Karras at the end of games. But if another trade happens before the end of the deadline, I could see that being a real possibility. But for now, I would say like the definitive lineup, your game-winning lineup is Garland, Mitchell, Karras, Mobley, Allen. And you don't even really need to ask a lot out of Karras outside of, hey, play some stellar defense, please.
Just take a little bit of that, and just take a little. Even if you take minuscule pressure away from Garland and Mitchell, who could already operate by themselves, but you're liable to score. I don't want to have Okoro out there where the defense is like, I'm disregarding him and putting more pressure on Mitchell and Garland. And in fairness, because Logan, I'm coming to you next with this two-part question. If you're in a 7-game series against Brooklyn, I have enough pride to even say, let's start Dean Wade. Let's put Dean Wade on Kevin Durant at the start of games. That might be an outrage to some fans, but I'm not totally opposed to starting Dean Wade at the 3, having him on KD to start the first half of the first quarter, and then getting your heavy hitters in. Maybe like you bring Okoro, and then Okoro's guarding him, or you bring LeVert in, and LeVert's more of a scoring aspect. But Logan, who's starting at the 3? And are you nervous about the bench? Like devil's advocate, Love is getting a little bit older. Jetty's not really reliable. Maybe Lamar Stevens doesn't make a huge improvement. I just want to hear your thoughts.
It's got to be Okoro. I think I saw Evan Dameral's tweet as well, where he said that maybe it says a lot about his improvement that he's, still here on the roster. But I guess another part of that is maybe Utah didn't want him. But I guess, but the way I'm looking at this is Okoro needs to be out there for balance, plain and simple. If LeVert is out there with them, it's not going to work. I think Dean Wade to be awesome, Jeffrey. I really like that idea. Honestly, I forget about Dean Wade to be totally blunt. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing: Jetty's inconsistent, and I'm not talking about having him start. But as far as bench depth, to answer your question,
could we put Kevin Love at the 3?
No, don't do that.
Okay.
Don't do that. For God's sake, don't do that.
I'm just saying, though.
I didn't think. See, here's the thing. Laurie impressed me more than I thought defensively last year, but he was still pretty slow. He still wasn't keeping up. And I think Okoro,
correct.
He sometimes looked bad because I think Okoro might have been helping out Markkanen and helping out Garland a little bit more. I think Mitchell's going to be a little bit more focused on the defensive side of the ball because now he's on a team he wants to win with, a team he wants to play with. Is a big part of it. I think Okoro could maybe focus in more on just his matchup. But here's the thing, Jetty, I want to go back to Jetty real quick because I think he's an X factor next year. Last year, Love and Jetty, remember that combo off the bench? They'd combine for like 7 or 8 threes and they would score like 35 to 40 points, combined. Mm-hmm. Now I think Jetty has that defined role. He's not going against Markkanen. It's him and Dean Wade really playing that backup, and it's Okoro who's at the 3. I think there's going to be a little more opportunity and maybe a little more consistent minutes. I felt like the minutes kind of got shuffled around throughout the season last year because you got injuries to Rubio, you got injuries to Jared Allen down the stretch. We were just a complete cluster F of players by the end of the season trying to make it work.
Correct.
I think this trade gave you structure, like I said from the very beginning. So I think our depth looks good. I still think we need another shooter. I think we need a veteran presence. I think, personally, I wish we could have ripped Rudy Gay from Utah as well. I think it'd been a great fit as a veteran 3, veteran 4. Carmelo Anthony is definitely a call I would try to make. I don't know if you want to come, but here is the thing. Cleveland doesn't have the beaches. It doesn't have the nightlife of Miami, but we are a charming city. We have the best sports fans, and damn it, we have a pretty good basketball team. And I think some players are starting to catch on to that idea. Mm-hmm. Donovan Mitchell looks excited to be in Cleveland. He's been playing with Rubio again from Utah. He likes the Garland backcourt. There is a lot of exciting things going on in Cleveland. And even LeBron James likes it. Did you guys see his tweet?
He loves it. I mean, of course he loves it.
Everyone loves the Cavaliers right now.
He's like Spiders out of the West. I love it.
Exactly right.
Perfect.
It's exciting times in Cleveland. That's really what matters at the end of the day. To answer your question, Okoro started at 3.
No, I got to chime back in about the depth because I didn't really get into what I was thinking of at the time. But, I saw the Clutch Points tweet, and it's like your starters, Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Isaac Okoro, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen. Right. Then your bench is Ricky Rubio, Karras LeVert, Chetty Osman, Kevin Love, Robin Lopez, not to mention Dean Wade and Lamar Stevens. I talked about it all last year about having the depth to play.
Raul Neto
for, until Ricky Rubio can come back and, take the minutes away. But that was my thing last year. Is like dudes should not be playing. Like I look back at it, Garland played like 35 minutes And we knew he had back problems later on in the season because he was carrying at points. But it's tough to even like think that any of these guys should play more than like 32, 33 minutes. I personally, it's gonna suck to say this. If I saw the regression in Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland's like points stats, I wouldn't be like pissed about that because I think other aspects of their games are going to improve. And to say Garland will regress is probably not true. He'll probably improve, and Mitchell will be the one that comes down. But Mitchell's assist numbers will probably go up. But it's just like, in my mind, I'm already picturing it. You have that starting five of Garland, Donovan, Isaac, Evan, and Jared Allen. The first two guys that come off are going to be Garland and Mobley, probably. You put Raul in there, and you put Kevin in there. Then you get Isaac out with Karras. Then you get Donovan out, and you put Garland back in. And just so many different lineups that you can have. And
that's better than JB would do.
that's pretty good.
It's just so mental. It was the one thing that I like have been thinking about since the trade happened, and it's like, really, if JB can be that coach and can really pull through for us, guys shouldn't be overworked, and we should still be able to get a good flow of like offense, defense, and not have one area falter because you take out a certain player. There's no longer that like glaring miss there. Yeah, I think the three position needs like an actual three. We don't have that. But outside of that, it's like, man, you have so many interchangeable pieces that you can fill every hole at any point in the game. And that's what's got me most excited about this trade. I think you got rid of three players who, yeah, it's whatever, but you also give more guys time to develop, and you give just an overall sense of depth that actually matters, not depth of like, oh, there's a ton of mediocre players and they're all fighting for minutes and trying to do whatever.
Well, you gave up three. Yeah, go ahead.
If you put LeVert as the sixth, like let's just say LeVert if you're saying 1 through 6, our starters, let's say Okoro's the 3 and LeVert's a 6. Our 1 through 6 is extremely athletic. That's what I took out from both your responses. And Justin, I think I totally agree with what you're saying and I was excited for Abaji, I'll admit it, but you take Abaji out of the equation. So now you have Okoro and LeVert, however you want to slice it up. They're direct replacements. Whoever starts, it don't really matter. I just like making a mess on Twitter, but it don't really matter. And then I don't have this weird like, oh, are we going to play the big three again? Like, and everyone's going to remember last season and cherish those memories with Lowry, Mobley, and Allen. But it's like, I don't have to worry about that anymore. And now you're going to have, like, you have 1-for-1 subs across the board. Rubio's coming in for Garland. LeVert's coming in for Okoro. You kind of have this weird little question mark at the 2 position, kind of, because you have like Wade and Lamar, who are both three-ish, kind of. Lamar, I guess you can maybe pass off as a 2, but you got Brooke Lopez coming in for, like Jared Allen. You actually have like a set roster where I could see 7 or 8 guys in a postseason series and be like, okay, I'm cool with only having 7 or 8 guys touch minutes instead of like, oh, last year we had probably like 10 in the playing games or 11. And it's like, what are we doing here? And, sure, Chetty maybe comes in and replaces Mitchell as much as that makes sense. If you want it to make sense like that. Logan, what were you going to say?
You gave up 3 players that I think at the end of the day were not going to be on the stage when you hoist the Larry O'Brien trophy. That's the way I see it. I think they're always going to be players you're going to have to move.
Lowry, that's why that's where Lowry, though, like maybe. I could see Lowry putting together a Wiggins type series and kind of hoisting, kind of getting you to the finish line, but I see what you're saying.
And as far as the 3 big lineup, I said from the very beginning, I was like, there's no way this is sustainable. And I'll give it credit. It was sustainable for very long. But I think even towards the end, there's cracks. There's cracks, and part of it was injury. But I still think at the end of the day, there's some quick 3s out there now. Or, there's quick 4s and 5s nowadays that can get by you with one quick step. So I think at the end of the day, I would rather your 4 and 5 be traditional, fine. But I think I think that being untraditional at the 3, it works and it doesn't work. I don't think it works in a playoff game when the legs are churning and everyone's excited and ready to roll. I think you need a legit 3, not a 7-footer. And Markkanen, let's call a spade a spade. He had great games, but he had a lot of bad games. And I mean a lot of bad games.
Yeah,
if his shot wasn't falling, there was days where he was actually useless. But that's not to hate on Markkanen. I really enjoyed him. I really liked him. I think to me was the biggest loss of the trade at the end of the day. But I think it's part of it. You got to take a little bit of pain. It's got to hurt a little bit if you want to get to that next spot and get going. All I can say is I was excited for the Browns season, and here I am.
That's so true. That's so true.
Ready to throw on the white and gold.
September 1st, you're like, oh, fall's around the corner, but like fall, like when's basketball season? No, but I agree with. I think let's have patience with JB the first 15 to 20 contests. I think you might see him trot out weird, ugly lineups in the first 15 or 20 games. And after the All-Star break, this trade's actually going to make his job substantially easier because, like I said, he doesn't have to worry about fitting Abaji, Okoro, and LeVert into these weird who's playing these minutes.
Right, yes.
Yep. All right. We're getting a little long here, but we got one last question. Per Vegas Insider, we're going to Vegas here. How about that one? Vegas Insider has has the Cavs winning. The win projected total for the Cavs is 46.5 games.
That's as of today?
So, yes, that was edited as of today. So, essentially what that means is that you would have to say if the Cavs were going to win 47 games, if you said over, they would have to win 47 games more. If you say under, they would have to win 46 games or less. I'm a stickler. I'm going to bump it up to 50. Justin, do the Cavs, you think about our schedule. The schedule's not easy. The East is loaded. The East is stacked. Do the Cavs win 50 or more games this season?
So
50 and 32, 51
what did we
and 31.
end with? Like
43, right? 43 and 39.
I think we were around 43, 44.
But you got to understand, though, that sounds like this, but like if you say yes, that you think Mitchell gives you 7 or 8 more wins.
Yeah. So, and even injuries and whatnot, I think me personally, 50 games I think that's right on. 50 games is definitely right on there. And
fair enough.
Like it's just me trying to like think of Donovan Mitchell with the Jazz. And how many times did he have them over like 50 wins with who? Like with Rudy Gobert, who is a defensive player of the year, but we have our own potential defensive player of the year in the future, and Evan Mobley, and also Jared Allen, who is a hell of a defensive player as well.
They had 49 wins last year and 52 the year before.
Yeah, and to be fair, no other All-Stars, correct?
But they're pretty much 50 covering every season.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go out. Is this like a prediction, or are we just saying over?
Just a soft prediction, not
soft prediction right now. I'm gonna put it at 50, but okay. I feel like I'm gonna.
I knew you were gonna do that.
I think I'm gonna go higher in the future for sure.
Logan.
So here, my prediction before this trade was, I think in my head was 43 to 45 wins. I didn't think we're gonna be any better. Here's the thing: Atlanta Hawks went to the Eastern Conference Finals that one year. Were 2 games away from the NBA championship. They made no changes in the offseason, and they came back and did not play as well. They made the playoffs by beating the Cavs in the play-in, right? That's what happened. If the Cavaliers had stuck with what they had, I don't think they would have gotten any better. I think they would have been playing again for that play-in spot. Maybe might have stuck to that 6th seed potentially. But grabbing Mitchell, 51 and 31.
That was my thing.
Or no, I'm going 49 and 33.
49 like 33. It sounds like our case because it sounds like 31 losses is like that's like but it's still that's 20 games above 500. Like
I know 31 losses sounds like a lot. Okay, you know what? I changed my mind. 49 and 33. I think we're getting off to a slow start.
He's changed.
Maybe 48 and 34. My point is we made a move to make ourselves better, and that's what I can appreciate at the end of the day. I can put up with starting the season out a little rough. Now, obviously, if there's like really glaring things, that's gonna be different. But I'm so excited. This team can win 45 games or 57 games. I have no freaking clue. It just depends on how this comes out on the court. We could be the best team in the Eastern Conference, or the 6th best team in the Eastern Conference?
That's
Or
what I want to.
knows?
That's
Go
what I
ahead.
want to ask though, really quickly, Jeff. You've
Sure.
been asking questions all night, but this is the one thing that I had a question about
Go
to
ahead.
you guys because I was racking my brain about this before the trade happened, like 2 days ago, and I was like, we haven't made any moves. We were the 7th seed before the play-in started. We ended up 9th because of the 2 games that we lost. And I was thinking, where realistically, if we stood put, we brought Sexton back, where would we end up realistically? What would be the most realistic landing spots for us? I had us between at the best, at the very best, 5th in the East, and at the worst 9th. By the time the play-ins happen. Now that this has happened, I'm just going to put it right away. I have us in between 1 being the very best and 5 being the very worst.
Yeah,
I have
really
us
do
third or
think so.
fourth
Okay.
to me.
I'm
I
going back
think Milwaukee is probably going to be ahead of us.
Okay.
I think the team that is always good in the regular season, which is annoying because I don't really think they're that good. I think Miami's going to have a better regular season record than us. I could see us right there at 3. Or I could see Boston ahead of us at 3, us at 4. I think us and Miami are probably more comparable just because, let's say, all right, Boston's coming off the finals trip. Like, I wasn't huge believers in them anyway, but let's just give them the respect. I have us 52 to 55 wins.
I have us as of like a roster right now. I look at the 76ers, Toronto.
We're so young too.
Yeah. I think we have better rosters than 76ers, Toronto, and Bulls. And I could argue that we have a better roster than Miami. I don't know how Miami – I've said this before. I don't know how Miami operates so well as a team.
Always have.
Spoelstra's a genius somehow.
Correct.
But I think you're right. I think Milwaukee is going to be better than us for sure. I think the Celtics will probably be better than us. And I'm with you there, Jeff. I think Miami's probably going to have,
they just have been doing it for so long.
But I could see them regressing, not to the point that they fall so far, but to the point that we've progressed and that they regress slightly, and maybe we jump them and get 4. But I think 4 and 5 is like
fair,
very, very much where we land at the end of this.
Is Atlanta better?
No,
absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Here's the thing, though. It might literally be like we have 52 wins because like 50 wins is a lot, but it's like there might be 3 teams ahead of us who have like 53. Like it could be.
Last year was tight.
Yeah, it's going to be tight again.
There were 3 teams that were tied for 51, 51, 51, 53.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sticking with it, by the way. 51 and 31. I'm going to say it.
Something like that.
And we're going to come back, I'm sure, before the season starts and give our official predictions, but that's where I'm sitting at.
I think just think about the games last year where we would walk into Philly, where we would walk into Miami, and it seemed like we were right there. We were right there, and we would be close, and then Joel Embiid would hit a big bucket. Jimmy Butler would hit a big bucket. I'm thinking it's going to be the complete opposite. People are going to walk into our building, and the 76ers fans are going to feel how we felt last year, that they're 5 points away, 7 points away. Mitchell just puts it right in somebody's eye.
We have 2
Darius Garland, just
3-point,
bang, we're up 10, we're up 15. Like, it's going to be totally different this year.
My last tidbit is God bless it. It's leaving my head. It's leaving my head. Okay, I got it. The beginning of the season, remember I texted you guys last week, and I said, I'm not going to lie to you guys. That beginning of the season looks rough. I have us going like 6-9 in the first 15 games. Now this gives us that competitive edge. This gives us that 10 to 15 points more that we're going to need in these games, right? That's the way it kind of feels to me. This allows us, because we lost it towards the end of that season. Again, injuries are part of it, but I think people are figuring us out. We're coming now back with, we kept what was great. Not what was good. We kept what was great about us, and we added a player. Garland was great. Mobley was great. Allen was great. And now we added Donovan Mitchell, right? Markkanen was good. That was a good spot. But I think now we're not as predictable. We're not coming at you with the same team. We're coming at you harder. And I think that should really put a lot of teams on notice, which is going to make those games even more entertaining.
Fair enough. Boys, anything else?
No, I think
anything
34
else?
minutes.
I gotta know when the
talking
press
about a player
comes out and if he's getting a new number or not.
Oh, I'm sure they'll know that kind of on tomorrow.
I like 45. I'm just saying, like,
I don't
just
love
gotta know for the
45.
jersey. I just gotta know for when I buy the jersey.
We got to see the city jerseys because if the
What a
city
good time
jersey
to
is
get new
orange,
I think 23 is still available on the squad.
Oh dear God.
and
23,
2.
2.
I heard 2's
Do
open.
we need any more legacy numbers to be, worn by someone else?
No.
Huh?
No.
My goodness.
All right. Well,
Good to see you guys again. My God.
good to see you. Good
love
conversation. Pushing
excited.
40 minutes. It wasn't
Yes,
long
sir.
enough, but we'll be back. We'll be back. As we started the video, for Logan, for Justin, I've been Jeffrey. This has been the Cleveland Pulse. I promise you, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button. I respect all people that cover the Cleveland Cavaliers, whether you're just fellow fans like us, whether you're just quote unquote corporate media. I respect it all. We need more fans in the space. We need more people talking Cavs basketball, I promise. But I also promise no one is going to cover the Cleveland Cavaliers better this season than us. Personalized guarantee. So like I said, make sure you subscribe, turn that notification bell on. Suggest down in the comments below, who do you guys want us to collaborate with? We're going to talk to Mac Perry from It's Cavalier podcast, him and his buddy over there. We're going to be good. We're going to get a nice big panel on whoever you guys want us to speak with. We'll be back with more content. Make sure you go grab Donovan Mitchell jerseys now as soon as he picks his number. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.